Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, for the first time since the last time, it's that time, right about that time, for your favorite Pokemon challenge and mine. My name is Sebastian Todd III. You may call me ST3. And we are doing this a lot differently, mostly by accident here today, because we tried to record in a different application and it did not go the way that I had intended, and I accidentally saved over my save state. So we're going to do some gameplay here in a few moments, and the video is being done after the fact because while I recorded everything at once and it said the video was recording, and the software said it would do both, it would play the video and capture the audio, and it would have the gameplay. It didn't. We are doing the audio after the fact, which is weird. But we're going to give a team recap here because I had done some training between episode 4 and episode 5, very light. Got the Riolu up. I think it was already at level 15. Just kind of go through the team real quick. Zombie didn't change any. Headbutt, Growl, Signal Beam, and Icy Wind, of course, still. Venus did not change. Hopeful to get Venus up in this episode. Sleep Powder, Poison Powder, Leech Seed, and Vine Whip. The 2 mons I did train up, though, of course, are the next 2 here. Respite Hour, Slack Off with Motor Drive, Scratch, Yawn, Encore, and Slack Off, which was new, and phenomenal to get Slack Off on this mon. And then, of course, our Ball Toy Aiken, we got up to level 15 and got Rock Tomb to go with Psybeam, Confusion, and Mud Slap. So that is what the team is looking like. So yeah, this is going to be a little weird. I've never done this where I have recorded the audio after the fact, and I am doing it without a script because I know what I kind of said a few moments ago when we tried to record the episode to a degree. But mostly the plan for this episode is to try to get as far as we could in the episode, get through the cave, get toward the Azalea Town, see how far we could get toward like the Slowpoke Well. And the application I was using for this, which I will not be using again because if it's not going to actually capture the video, I mean, my video was there the whole time. I could see it. I could, it said it was capturing, and then it said it couldn't save it in the right file format, and it was weird. Anyway, only gave us a 30-minute time limit. So this, and no countdown, no timer anywhere on the screen to know where we were at in the 30 minutes. So we kind of had to make our own. So we will go away from this system for episode 6 and further episodes, at least until we can work some bugs out. Maybe I can try it on like just whatever playthrough. So as you can see here, we are fighting our first trainer, which had a Weedle. Nothing too scary for us to worry about. But let's talk about some of the things we were going to talk about in the episode. First and foremost, as always, drink your water. There's your reminder. Recycle the bottles once you do drink your water. We were talking about the weekend. This is Monday's episode. Behind the scenes, peek behind the curtain. It is Sunday when this was recorded. Both the video and then the video on top of the video. But we recorded this on Sunday, but this is going up on Monday, March 6th. So I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. I hope everything was relaxing for you. My wife and I spent Saturday getting car inspected and bringing our taxes to our tax person, who we are very grateful for helping us out with our taxes. This year will be a little more complicated with some job stuff and some stipends and whatever. So just nice to have that person that we can trust and rely on to help us figure out the tax implications of everything like that. Just makes it easier, and we appreciate him for doing that. So shout out to our tax person. And I don't know if he would want to be named, so I won't protect his identity for now, but shout out. Huge gratitude coming from my wife and I for that. Other than that, a lot of snow where we are at, so a lot of shoveling, and then being inside and trying to get some more reading done. So I love reading. I think I've mentioned that before. By the time you see this episode on Monday, I should be at 20 books read for the year. I have 2 books I'm in the process of reading at time of recording, but both are really close to finishing. And that's actually my plan for tonight, Sunday night, is to wrap those up. So, that is what's going on in my world. Hope everything's going on well in your world. Let me know in the comments below what is going on. And excited for the week. The weekend's always fun, right? To kind of get our bearings here um, and plan for the week ahead. My week ahead, at the time this airs, it will already have happened, but on Monday, I have a important interview. It's the third interview in the process for a position here at a local university. I'm pretty excited about because it's been a couple years since I've had something to do with college. I most recently got my second master's in 2020 is when I wrapped up. So no graduation ceremony, no celebration because of COVID and all that, but um, worked in higher education, obviously in part during my undergraduate studies years ago, but also not long after I graduated. My first full-time job after graduation was actually at one of the colleges I worked at. So excited to be interviewing for that. One thing I mentioned in this episode, because we start to see it more in this episode, I think, than we have in previous. I'm not like a HeartGold, Soul Silver expert. I couldn't tell you where every single hidden item is, but as you saw there, getting the protector, I do know where a decent amount are. So if you're a HeartGold enthusiast and didn't know where some of these hidden items are, I don't call them out in every single time because I don't think to, depending on where our train of thought is. But if you're watching the gameplay, you might see some places I pick up some of those random items. And this cave has 3 or 4 good ones. So I get some random items. At least 3 I can think of real quick. So that you'll see. One of them right there, the protector. The interview tomorrow is going to be interesting. It's going to be a 2.5 long hour interview. So again, by the time this goes up, you seeing this, I've already done the 2.5 hour interview. Later on comes out. So we send Luca out. Easy dub. Fighting on steel. So 2.5 hours. The committee that I met with for the second interview was 4 people through a Zoom call for about an hour. So that was, it's a little bit nerve-wracking because you want to do well, but there's 4 people there that you feel like you have to kind of interact with. But here we're going to switch out our Bulbasaur for 2 reasons. Obviously, Bulbasaur is holding the Amulet Coin, and we are 1 level away from an Ivysaur. So we want to get some experience on our Bulbasaur. We want to get some extra money from Hiker Maryland and Hiker Maryland's Jinx. So it's going to be interesting. 2.5 hours. I'm not usually overwhelmed in terms of like interacting with people. It was via Zoom, and after the Zoom call, I asked my wife, who was in a different part of the house but could kind of hear enough. I said, and could you hear us? And she's like, yeah. So what did you think? And she said, you talk too much. I'm talking to myself essentially right here doing this. So she's not wrong. But yeah, I'm not usually afraid to interact, converse, talk to people during these types of interviews. So I don't know how many people will be. I know we're going to start with 2 that I've met virtually. It is in person, so 2.5 hours in person. And I think we're going to have some moments where with the whole committee. I don't know if the whole committee is 4, if it was just 4 from the committee that I met with. And then there'll be some of the students I guess I'll interact with. And yeah, it'll be interesting. So I'm excited. I'm interested in the job. I think it's something that I would be very fulfilled doing. I'm very challenged by in a good way. Something that I would be excited to get up every morning and do, because the overall goal would be to help students reach success, whatever that looks like for them. And I love that idea of giving back and being a resource for people. So that's kind of the big thing coming up this week for me. Is that the other big thing this week, last couple of weeks we've done this, and we'll probably do this again this week, is that not that you can tell from these videos because it's not much of me in the camera, but I'm not small. I'm not thin by any stretch of the imagination. So slowly but surely trying to color change on the Umbreon. Forget about that. Change it to an ice type, but we took it down. nonetheless. We did switch from obviously the icy wind because ice on ice. But I've been trying to slowly get back into a habit. We've had a Peloton for a little over a year now, and when we first got it, that first month or so, I was a couple weeks at least, I was very big on it. There's another hidden item if you were aware. Um, and really haven't used it much since I had some health issues, had the surgery. Um, Missed about 5 weeks last year with the surgery and all the complications of leading up to it, but um, really haven't gotten back on since. And so I've been trying over the last month or so, maybe at least once a week, getting back on the Peloton. And hopefully we'll move my way back to every other day, if not every day. But part of uh, that inspiration to get on has been my uncle, who's been doing Peloton for a few years now and has a ton of rides and just crazy output and is phenomenal at it. He and I have been riding together. He lives in a different state and all that, but it's just fun to have that person that you can kind of connect with, high five with through the Peloton. Um, he chose a ride, I've chosen a ride. He, kind of offset or go back and forth, I guess, choosing Magnemite here for our Bulbasaur. And that just makes it more fun for me. I'm nowhere near his level, so I don't try to compete with his numbers. And having them up there is crazy to watch because his numbers get in the 400s, where mine are like maybe low hundreds if I'm, pushing myself hard. But um, it's really fun to have somebody kind of rooting for you, cheering for you, in your corner. So we've been doing when I ride by myself, it might be 10, 15, 10, 5, 15-minute ride, depending on how I'm feeling that day, where my legs are at. Been doing more walking recently, but in terms of riding, just doing that. When I ride with him, we do 30-minute rides. And so I did set a personal best last week on it. So that will be the goal this week, is just one out point better than I did last week. That's the goal. Not going to compete with him. There is level 16. That means we are getting our Ivysaur, which is why we put one of the two big reasons we put Ivysaur in the front here anyway, was to get our Ivysaur, or our Bulbasaur at the time, get our Ivysaur. And check out the Ivysaur's ability here to see. And it is Shell Armor, protects against critical hits, which is a great ability to have, especially when you're trying to grind or having some of these battles. Sometimes we get low health. We know that it's doing, consistently 4 to 7 damage points. We've got 8 or 9. Typically, you get afraid of that crit. Don't have to with Shell Armor on the Ivysaur. One of the things, I think it was around here, I don't know how to do this commentary now, so you're getting a mix of everything. I don't know if I should be trying to commentate as if I'm doing this brand new, but I've already told you that I'm not. This is voiceover. But here is the third hidden item, which is a great one, because that is good money that we can sell that, get some Pokeballs, get some potions. I say that, spoiler alert, we encounter a Pokemon when we get out of the cave. And I'm thinking about this now. When we go to throw the first Pokeball that we throw at it, I realize that there's quite a bit in there. And I won't spoil how many we end up using in that encounter, but maybe we sell that odd incense when we get up, oh my gosh, I'm blanking. The town right after today, we're fourth gym, because we can get the Great Balls, Ultra Balls. Look at the TMs up there. So that'll probably actually happen in episode, I'm guessing episode 7, because or maybe episode 6. This is episode 5, so it might be 6 or 7. It'll happen. Yeah, so excited, looking forward to that. Having that ride with my uncle on the Peloton, and just trying to build a routine. That's all we got to do. Much like this series, right? I know I'm not great at the health thing, like the healthy eating, the healthy lifestyle, the workouts, all that. But I've been in patterns before where I've gained a lot of weight and then I've lost a lot of weight, and then I've gained a lot of weight and then I've lost a lot of weight. In fact, about a year ago when we first got the Peloton, I was in a good little rhythm of losing weight. Hopefully, by bringing it up in this series and holding myself accountable that way, riding with my uncle on the Peloton, hopefully all of this can only help. Here, I think we were debating whether we wanted to interact with a trainer or if we wanted to get our encounter first, and we decided to go with the trainer first before we got the encounter, just to get a couple more levels, and we probably weren't going to use our encounter here anyway in this battle. So yeah, really thinking about just chipping away one step at a time, and that's the whole point of the series. Is it's kind of a proof of concept, right? I've never recorded videos. I mean, I've recorded PowerPoints before for presentations through schooling and stuff like that, but I've never recorded gameplay. I've never recorded audio like this. So we're learning as we go, and I think that's what the weight loss journey is going to be about too. Is I know what's worked in the past, and I can start implementing some of those, like counting calories, going for more walks. Walks are phenomenal too, because I mentioned I love reading. One of the ways I enjoy reading is through. I mean, I like putting on an audiobook and going for a walk and just getting lost in the story. It takes some of the pressure off the walk too, because then you're not exercising, you're not. I mean, you're worried a little bit about, you don't want traffic and all that, because I walk outside, in nature. Gotta be mindful of animals, so can't have it too loud because you need to hear what's going around you. But you can also get lost in the story and you kind of forget that you're exercising. And sometimes, you're so into the story while being mindful of your surroundings, but you're so into the story that you've walked for a while, and all of a sudden it's been a half hour, and you go, oh, I got a half hour back, so I got to turn around. So I love that, and I count that as reading a book as if I was physically reading the book as well, in part because there's a physical copy of it. If you're following along and you can kind of discuss the story, talk about what's happened, have the conversations, discuss the themes and the characters and all that. And there's a written version of it to kind of back it up, which is a little bit different than a podcast in that way. I wouldn't call it listening to a podcast as reading, although podcasts are also amazing on walks. But yeah, I would count an Audible book. I use Audible. I know audiobooks that a lot of people use, like the library, stuff like that. Not sponsored by Audible. There's, as if you can't figure that out by the fact that this video is as duct taped together as it is. I'm nowhere near sponsorships of any kind, and that's not necessarily the goal. Maybe someday, but yeah, I enjoyed a lot. And my favorite thing to audiobook is biographies, but especially autobiographies, and even more especially when they're read by the author. So hearing the celebrity or politician or whatever it might be kind of tell their story in their way. And again, not sponsored, but the one I most recently listened to is Will Smith's autobiography. And I know he's kind of a controversial character right now with the slap and all that, but the audiobook of his autobiography is phenomenal because it's not just him telling the stories. Here's our encounter. It is a Banette, which we'll take. Solid ghost type. Not like the best Pokemon we could have gotten, but could have gotten far worse. And a Pokemon that in the next episode we will have to have a quick discussion to start on what our team is going to look like here. But we will put the Pokemon to sleep and go think about maybe getting a little damage on it. So Will Smith's book isn't just his book; it's not just his story, but he incorporates some music into it. The panic there, thinking that the Vine Whip was going to kill, but perfect amount of damage. Incorporates music, a scene from Fresh Prince in there. It's the production value is so much more than just him reading the book, which I love to begin with. But 2 shakes, 3 shakes. Oh, first ball, Bassy shows up again. Didn't really want to spoil it. Hopefully, I didn't. one ball. So we still have 32 Pokeballs. So maybe we don't need too many. I can save some of that money from the odd incense for Great Balls and Ultra Balls. Banette, I um, call this Zippo for two reasons. One, obviously, the zippered mouth on Banette. Zippo. Okay, funny enough. And then also compared to some of the other Ghost Mode Pokemon, Banette is a little lighter. Right? There's your snare. And here, look at the egg. We know it's going to hatch soon. So we're going to walk back and forth here. And we debated going up, but let's walk back and forth and see if we can't get this egg to hatch. Because though I know what this egg ends up being because the audio and the video didn't record right, you don't. So let's see if I can bring that same surprise. Here's like an acting audition, right? Built into this. And then thought about, too, the fact that we have Dugong. And let's try one headbutt. Don't really think that these trees that are in Azalea Town really give a lot of headbutt encounters, but the other location does. So as we walk back and forth here, the two conversations to kind of have or think about very similar are what kind of headbutt Pokemon could we get in Azalea Town proper in our next episode? Because in this recording, we're getting kind of close to that 30-minute mark that the software kind of limited us to. Or at least I thought we were. But yeah, thinking about that, what could it be? Those don't randomize, so it's probably going to be like a Spearow or like an Ambipom. Love a Heracross. But would take like a Hoot or a Noctowl. Well, I don't think Noctowl will come up, like a Hoot. I think in other places you can get like a Pineco or a Spinarak, but flying types are usually good to have. The way I randomize them, I think I said this in an early episode, HM compatibility stays what it usually is. So I can't just throw Fly on, Riolu in a few episodes once we get Fly. So you need some Pokemon in at least the box that can learn Fly if you want to make things easier or you're going the long way, which I've definitely had some runs where we don't get many flying types or I've lost the flying types. So we've been really lucky so far early in this run. One gym in, headed for our second, that we haven't lost anything. The other thing we're talking about here is our egg, and what our egg might be. What kind of egg, or what kind of Pokemon we're hoping this egg becomes. The way it's randomized, I'm 99.9% sure that it cannot be a legendary. Legendary statics should randomize to legendary, and normal statics would randomize to normal statics. So, of the non-legendary Pokemon, what could this be? What would be really helpful for the team? Yeah, so back real quick while we're walking around still. And I'm trying to think of what Pokemon would be really helpful for the team with Riolu and Slackoff, Ivysaur now. I don't think we have a strong water type. A good, solid water type, which is my favorite, would be phenomenal. And if you follow on Instagram and Twitter, I was watching the Nintendo stream the other night doing the favorite Pokemon list that he did with the different tiers and the website. And they did post mine on Twitter and Instagram. So if you are following the official ST3 on Twitter or Instagram, you will see what my favorite Pokemon is. I know we kind of teased that a few episodes ago, but it's on the socials if you want to find it. And I know some of those are controversial, but it's fine, and that's the fun of it. Everybody has different Pokemon that they like for different reasons. And actually today, Nintendo did a stream of the least favorite, which was almost as hard to do as the favorite. I haven't posted those pictures yet, but I do have a picture of that. So maybe I'll throw that up on the socials as well. And definitely go check out the Nintendo streams to do it yourself. All right, so we are here at Egg Hatch time. A strong water type would be great. And I will be faithful to what I originally guessed. My thought here, I know you'll think in a moment whatever you want to think, but my initial thought here, put your comments on our system. Put it in the comments below what you think this egg is going to turn into. I will trust that you didn't watch it and then put the comment in. But my guess is a Feebas. I don't know why. I don't know where that came from. But in that moment, I really thought this is going to be a Feebas, which would be a strong water type for sure, but it would take forever to level up. And then we get an Arbok. And I can't roll an R, so you're not going to get a good one for me, but I will do Arbok. Not great. I know it's not a good impression of our Arbok. Arbok has always had the same nickname for me. Kobe Bryant, right? Loved. I didn't love Kobe Bryant as much watching him play, but love the mindset. I have, after he, kind of left basketball, and sadly since he's passed, I have just really enjoyed hearing stories about his mentality and how he approached games and tried to outwork his opponents for the mind games and stuff like that. So I like the idea of naming our Arbok Mamba. Of course, there is Seviper, who is an actual black snake compared to a purple snake, so that might fit the Black Mamba idea better. Not just for Kobe Bryant's nickname, but for the actual Black Mamba snake from which Kobe gets his nickname. But, such is life. So we are healing up here to wrap up the episode a little bit before the 30-minute mark, but appreciate you tuning in. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, until next time.